President Dr. Masisi met with President Joe Biden's Special Presidential Coordinator for Global Infrastructure and Energy Security, as well as Power Africa Coordinator Richard Nelson. Mr. Nelson oversees the U.S. government's Power Africa, a decade-long initiative to double access to electricity in sub-Saharan Africa by 2030. Meanwhile, the leader of the U.S. delegation to the U.S. Africa Business Summit and U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, also paid a courtesy call on the president. The two discussed several issues, including U.S.-Botswana trade relations, as well as global peace and security. Since his arrival in Dallas on Sunday, President Dr. Masisi has met several investors and senior leaders of the American government. President Dr. Masisi has cautioned investors against labeling Africa as a risky investment destination, adding that more conversations should be held around this issue to de-risk the continent. Speaking at a high-level dialogue session themed Unlocking Africa's Digital Potential to address challenges to expanding opportunities, alongside Lesotho's Deputy Prime Minister Ntome Majara and 3 representatives from the private sector, he said Botswana is ready to remove any hurdles for investors. Kifilwe Mkhauzani.
The U.S. Business Africa Summit has begun in earnest, with leaders in politics, investment and governance now delving deep into the issues that impede trading and partnerships between the U.S. and Africa. President Masisi participated at a high-level dialogue on unlocking Africa's digital potential to address challenges to expanding opportunities. His view is that one of the major challenges is perceptions about the continent.
We are keenly aware that you perceive Africa in general as risky. And perhaps in Botswana's case also risky. We want to hear what is it that you are scared of, so we can remove it from your way. What are you scared of? Because in terms of on the policy front, we have done that which the textbook says we ought to do. In terms of our integrity and values, we've done that which is to be done. In terms of our reputation, we have done that. Yes, we still hold the pula, which is our currency, but it's convertible. So we need to know from you, what else do you want?
The director of the U.S. Trade and Development Agency says risk is a real issue for investors, and to balance the scales, America has come up with solutions to cushion the fears. The current challenge for Africa is scaling up innovations to market.
There is typical risk of infrastructure projects, right? Things like the due diligence that financiers will expect. Things like wanting to understand that this technology should and can be scaled, and how. Wanting to know the project sponsor really well. So these are the typical risks beyond what His Excellency has mentioned that I do think addressing can help to bring down risk for investors and encourage investment. And I said this in an infrastructure roundtable just a little bit ago, where we can help to mitigate that kind of risk, for example, with grant funding, which would help to bring down costs, we should do it.
New age entrepreneurs are driven by innovation and technology, a transition that is still at a nascent stage in Africa. Investors want Africa to focus on laying the right infrastructure to support innovation.
Despite the political challenges, you have a lot of opportunities because everything is to build. And when we talk about AI and all of that, what is scared me to death is, where are our data? Where are the African data? 2/3 of the African data are outside. Everywhere else. We need to increase the traffic in Africa. We need to build digital infrastructure in Africa, because sooner or later they're going to bring back revenue. Our data are outside. We talk about AI and all of that, which means that people can predict what we do, because the real challenge in digital is data.
Today, the U.S. Business Africa Summit will shine the spotlight on Botswana, as the focus will be on the Invest in Botswana Forum, where the country's captivating story of success and potential will be told to the world. Kifilwe Mkhauzani, BTV News, Dallas, America.
Still in Dallas, the President, Dr. Masisi, has just shared with the international business community that Botswana offers a range of investment opportunities for foreign investors. When giving a keynote address at the Invest in Botswana Forum at the ongoing U.S.-Africa Business Summit in Dallas, President Dr. Masisi said that his government has implemented several initiatives aimed at attracting foreign investment, such as investment promotion and ease of doing business in Botswana.
The government of Botswana has thus remained steadfast in our endeavors to continuously monitor, evaluate, and enhance the ease of doing business, reforms, and our global competitiveness. We have constantly ranked in the top 10 best countries in Africa with respect to doing business and Global Competitiveness Index. As part of our broader investment promotion drive, and to ensure that we remain investor-friendly and competitive, my government has taken a decision to set up the Botswana Board of Investment, which I will chair, as a way of affirming our total commitment to the ease of doing business in Botswana. This is done within the context of positioning and promoting Botswana as a destination of choice, offering a world-class climate for doing business. Furthermore, we in Botswana continue to reaffirm our commitment to the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, as spelled out by the UN. To this end, we have aligned our National Vision 2036, Achieving Prosperity for All, with this goal, global agenda, of achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, and are always eagerly participating in the continued discussions and discourses that highlight the commonalities and interlinkages in the development interventions and strategies underpinned by the principle of leaving no one behind.
The Vice President, Mr. Slamba Tsohane, has arrived in Nairobi, Kenya, where he is expected to attend the Africa Fertilizer and Soil Health Summit on Thursday with other African leaders. The summit will deliberate on Africa's recent widespread decade-long decline in soil quality of farmland that continues today and negatively impacts the agricultural production capacity and food security in the continent. In addition, it is expected to bring all relevant stakeholders together to highlight the crucial role of fertilizer and soil health in stimulating sustainable pro-poor productivity growth in African agriculture, and to agree on an African fertilizer and soil health action plan, as well as Soil's initiative for Africa. The summit is in line with the 2006 Abuja Declaration on Fertilizer for Africa Green Revolution, a continental strategy to reverse the worrying trend of poor productivity of African soils. The Vice President is accompanied by the Assistant Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Molebatsi, and other senior government officials. Chairperson of the Government Assurance and Implementation Committee from Uganda, Dr. Ebed Bwanika, applauded the government of Botswana for investing in the cattle farming sector to develop the economy, saying this will help improve the quality and quantity of the national herd. Dr. Bwanika said this at the Ramatlavama Artificial Insemination Tour. Lones Gobo reports.
Dr. Bwanika says the visit accords them an opportunity to benchmark and acquire best practices that will help them develop their livestock back home, and in the same breath, strengthening the bilateral relations between the two countries. Dr. Bwanika and other 4 members of parliament have been invited by the Speaker of Parliament with intention to share skills and knowledge on how to develop and strengthen their relationship.
I like the investment that the government of Botswana has done for the nation, in terms of improving the herd, the quality, but also multiplying the numbers. I believe it is a good direction for the nation. I know that Botswana, one of their key export is in the livestock, in the beef. There are so many issues that we are going to build out of this in terms of support of each other as a nation, on the issue of agriculture, but also to see what trade we can do between ourselves in terms of the agriculture, in terms of livestock.
The decision of this country of transforming the facility into a center of excellence for artificial insemination and embryo transfer to develop the national herd is said to be a good step into developing the country's economy.
Residiva sa metsi a tsididi a sa khaleng a eletsang go nwa ke mongwe le mongwe a ntshang lenyora a re ga wa nole o se go tlhole o nyora go. Simply put, se go ra go rona re le lehatse re dira something extraordinarily sterling tsela ntse ya tlhagolwa a re ha tshelela rona re dira dio tse dintle mo go maso batho ba tle go tsaya malebela.
The nation was encouraged to visit the facility to learn skills that will help them improve their livestock breeds and help boost the country's agricultural sector. Lone Sokobo, BTV News, Ramatlava.
The Forbes Under 30 Africa Summit concluded today in Gaborone, following 4 days of conversations amongst young entrepreneurs from Botswana and the rest of the world. The summit, whose aim is to inspire young generations to unleash their potential in the creatives, sport, technology and science sectors. So the delegates tour some diamond cutting and sorting companies as well as some corporates in an effort to expose them to professionalism, entrepreneurship and business opportunities for economic growth. When addressing the delegates during the official opening, the acting president, Mr. Slamba Tsohwane, implored young entrepreneurs to seek and explore opportunities through networking and also advised them to look for investment opportunities from established investors. In other news, the Motor Vehicle Fund case manager for rehabilitation, Ms. Lesedi Molatedi, says it is crucial that claimants should better manage claimed funds so that such money can sustain them in the long term. Ms. Molatedi shared this at an MVA loss of engagement seminar in Gaborone, where she briefed participants on the assistance they provide road accident victims. The victims of motor vehicle accidents were further implored to utilize government programs in order to empower themselves. Solofelo Tombale.
The Motor Vehicle Fund highlighted that the assistance the fund provides those who struggle to work due to their injuries from road accidents cannot sustain them adequately over the long term. Therefore, MVA continues to engage the public with their outreach programs targeting those who have been involved in vehicle accidents and already receiving financial assistance to utilize the funds wisely for their own benefit.
It's so painful to see Motwachonzuraba anale covering kana support their cover loss of income. Aba hitse ka khodianta come June ona dinisi mo tsa dithoka ga gona space ana le so. Ene ditsala di simola go gola thegella go no wa sena le tseno teng. Ka moso ena nkete MVA fund isutile ba tsa sethabeng.
Madia go sa ratela se gore ke se kae se kae a manyenyane go le kae. Go botlhokwa gore o itse gore o nne aware gore madia ba dirisa eng. One of the most important things that we do for madia ba dirisa marriage ke go budgeta ke go save.
Victims of motor vehicle accidents are implored to utilize government programs in order to empower themselves and increase what they are already receiving from the fund.
Local Enterprise Authority mandate wa rona le mananeo a leng gore a teng a governmente a eseng gore ke a le a hela a leng gore re le mo roomong ya gampieko re ka akanyetsa go oketsa bonyenyane jo e leng gore ba MV ba thusa ka bone.
I would like to appreciate the presence of Balia and Absa who were with us in this meeting today. We've learned a lot from Leah, things that we do not usually get to understand more because we usually don't visit the offices. Apart from that, Absa has also given us a brief service that they provide. So I'll just say I've learned a lot today.
The majority of claimants appreciated MVA for the financial assistance they have provided over the years. Solafala Tombali, BTV News, Gaborone.
The refurbishment of the artificial insemination camp in Metsimantu, which was partially destroyed by a fire in August last year, commenced this month. The refurbishment, which will cost around 100,000 bula, is expected to be complete by October this year. At full functionality, the camp offered residents an opportunity to have access to semen samples of superior breeds such as Botswana and Brahman, to name a few. Angela Enosa.
The Metsimantu Artificial Insemination Camp, which reopened for use in 2022 before being gutted by wildfires last year, has the capacity to hold around 1,000 heads of cattle awaiting insemination. The fire proved to be a setback for farmers yearning to access superior semen samples, which were available at the camp.
I would say 95% molo wa tawa matshenyo go intsi thata e diragetse ha masakeng so re ne ra senyegelwa ke masaka rona go morago ka jalo ra nna le kgwetho ya go sa tsenya dikgomo mo programeng ya AI last year ka re ne re setse re dirisitse bonnyane bo neng re bo tshwere re le phata rata ra e budgetela gore maintenance wa ene re ta o dira this year so madi a tsene kgwedi yone re tswa mo go yone so re plan la gore e be le gore tota re setse re simolotse thulaganyo ya go baakanya polasi.
The resurrection of the artificial insemination camps across the country comes at a time when farmers are being called on to robustly improve their breeds.
Ke lebogela lephata gore ba bo ba tsibogile ka bonako se se supa gore tla re mo bogauing jo bokhutshwane bo go ka stokiwa ya kgona gore tswelle run purpose e ne e betswe bogolo jang thata re lebile gore gato re ikaege ka temothuo ka re ke tsweng dio tse re di kgonang thata mo kgaolong.
The refurbished facility will come with new technologies.
Tsengwe sa dio tse di dirilweng ke boranyane jo e leng gore ka re le ha modiri yo tlhokomelang gone ha a batla go itse gore go diragalang ka kwa sedibeng a ra le ko lapeng kana le ko kae a dirisa laptop ya gagwe go komela go dirile boranyane jo e leng gore ha o le mo range ya bo around 30 meters ya fence e fensitsweng ho o ka kgona go bona gore motho o batla go irang tota maikaelelo a gagwe ke.
Government is called on to work towards improving the roads that lead to the camp as they are in a bad state, which could dishearten farmers willing to make use of the facility. Angela Nusa, BTV News, Metsimantu.
Janoga farmers have partnered with the village leadership to rebuild and make use of old water affairs boreholes in the area. Khosi Watleng Setlodi of Janoga says the decision was informed by the persistent water shortage affecting farming prospects in the area. Barataka Isara and Atlasaone Haolathope.
The drying of the Tamalakani and Boteti rivers has negatively affected farming ventures in Janoga for a long time. Khosi Setlodi says upon realizing that farmers were experiencing livestock mortality due to lack of water, they came together as Janoga leadership and farmers to find ways to resolve the challenge, especially that for the past rainy season they had little to no rainfall.
Mere ne ra kopa dithuso go go ba ladybird still le ba shumba plant go go reyan le Leandri mohumagadi wa gagwe ba ne ba supa gore ba ka re thusa gabedi ba ne ba re rekela equipment ya sediba yotlhe le go hira bodiredi jo e leng gore bo ka dira sediba se gore se te ha se leng teng gompieno se kgone go ntsha metsi.
Janoga Farmers Association chairperson Mr. Ketsile Jambwe says some farmers in their area contributed 2 goats each as a way of raising funds that will be used to connect water pipes to those boreholes.
No ka ene le botshi matshakgalo di sa itse bua motebe tse re tshela ka tsone mo nokeng di tswe di thabina go sha a di badile ne re tshela ka no ka re gisa tse dintse tse re di bile mo go yone ja no ka e khadile e be ra gore ke gore bola le rue bola phologolo bola le le tswela setho ga re sa tswara mo botshelo jo bo itekanetseng mme be re buisana jaanong rona maekelo re dira jaaka re thasetswe jaaka kgosisa a sa tswa go bua be re tantsha dipudi kore tu tsa mathombo di tea dira ne re maintaina gore ta bo re le teng
koko ka le Batswana ba ne ba kgobokanya leruo ra kgona go duela boro machine ra bora ba nosa le ha re kgerethisa ka lebaka la gore ga rena sego mme gone re tsweletse sente ko kale gone mo kgaolo yone re kopile metsi ko go regram wa coexist ra nosa ko re kopile metsi ko go reyapi ba Castello Farm le bone barui ba ba nthae ka kwa ba thota eo ba nosa re kopile metsi ko drifters le gone ka ko seemo sa rona se siame.
The farmers veered they are on an initiative to connect water pipes alongside the tarred road to reduce livestock movement and chances of causing road accidents by crossing the road to go and try to find drinking water at the river. Martha Kaisara, BTV News, Januha.
It is time for the latest in sport with Liza Osegeng. Liza?
Hi, Komoto. Good evening.
How are you, ma'am?
I'm very well.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Komoto Mapani. Good evening. I am Liza Osegeng with your World of Sport, and we are starting off with football news. Holy Ghost defeated Police 11 1-0 in week 26 of Botswana Premier League encounter played at Lobatse Sport Complex this afternoon. The Mopane outfit collected maximum points courtesy of Tonderainya Kuba's own goal in the 37th second of the first half. In case you missed the action, we have the highlights for you.
A very casual ball, Motoi Talo Sajalo. Joshua Ngoma Kajarasi Abu Masoma Mabedi Busupa. Kahimomote. Hela Lagalaba, it's our parallel Fau. What a Police 11. Back up what was Sequel. Let Hataranya Gorudi Moradicota. Rana Lese, Wale Kawara, Letondera, Yakuba.
Like really, this game is going to be a tense game. Getting an early goal like that one, it was a motivation to our players. Since they had that belief that indeed we can do it, and that belief they carry on up until the last minutes of the game. That's how we won the game.
We were almost there, especially first half. We created. This is the story of our lives, especially for Police 11. Whereby we were doing everything. Last third, we are doing entries, we are creating chances, but at the end of the business, it's a tough luck to us. So, yes, congratulations to Holy Ghost. I think they did very well. You could tell that second half that they had a plan to say, let's compact. We'll always caught us on transitions. But we tried. We cannot falter these boys. Sometimes anxiety versus the result is always, frustrating that when you don't get a goal and you concede a goal like that one at the first minute, a deflection. Sometimes this kind of goals, they win with the match. And indeed, we did very hard, but we could not make it.
In other Botswana Premier League games played this afternoon, Matebele defeated Orapa United 2-1 at Itekeng Stadium. Township Rollers thrashed VTM FC 4-0, while lock leaders Joining Galaxy shared spoils with 11 Angels after playing 2-1 all draw. Masitaoka crushed Traffic 2-0 at Obed Itani Chilume Stadium in Francistown, while Nico United beat Security Systems 2-1 at Samsono Stadium in Selebe Pigwe. Now, Mogodisane Fighters moved 2 steps up to the 10th position of the First Division South log standings after a 2-1 victory against the UB Hawks in a game played at SSG grounds this afternoon. The Samba boys, who went into the game seated at the bottom of the log standings, scored their opening goal on the 16th minute through Tebogo Mokgotsi, and they held onto the lead until recess. 7 minutes into the second half, Kago Sisini leveled the matters for Basco boys, but their celebration was short-lived as Mokgotsi scored the second and the winning goal for the Brazilians 5 minutes later.
We're playing a team that is in the bottom of the log, fighting for their life for relegation. So they played to their best. Sometimes when you come trying to rotate the players, this is what happens. We rotated a lot of players. Second half we came back. We could have scored first before they scored of them. If you are playing in this last few games of the league, it is good for you to utilize your chances. If you don't, this is what happens. Everybody is fighting either to remain in the league, either to go and win the top of the league. So it's going to be last 2 games are going to be very difficult.
It was a game of 2 halves. First half we dominated a little bit, but unfortunately we did not convert our chances effectively. But then second half, after their substitutes, about 6 players, their regular players, that's when they had to pile a little bit of pressure. But we had to punish them with that silly. I should think they could have defended. The fair result could have been maybe a draw or so, but unfortunately for them. But we needed the 3 points more than anything else.
And finally, a team of 12 local swimmers returned home on Monday evening from their Africa Aquatics Swimming and Open Water Championships held in Angola. The high-level championships attracted 42 different African countries, giving swimmers a platform to improve their times and try to qualify for the Paris Olympics billed for July this year. Sharing on their experiences in Angola, local swimmers Tselane Matthews and Khalil Sethi, both aged 20, noted that as young as they are, they need to compete more at high-level competitions as they face tougher swimmers within their age range, meaning that they need to work even harder to prepare for the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles.
I think the main thing is to trust in the plan and in the training plan that our coaches have set out for us. Obviously up the training, the days and the intensity of it, also the meal plan and most importantly, like the mental aspect. And also just to get exposure, going to more galas. The more galas meets, the more meets you do, the more experience you get. The more you get more used to like competing and everything. Yeah. So obviously this is a big competition. So there are girls who are a lot faster. There are also girls who are not as fast, but. Yeah, with the backstroke, I competed in 100 and 200 backstroke, and I'm quite happy with my performance. They were season best, so that's all I can ask for.
For me personally, I think it was one of the biggest competitions I've swam in to date, and it was definitely nerve-wracking going against some of these big guys, almost double my age. But after the first day, I think I managed to calm down and get racing. Not to worry too much about who I'm racing against, because us being young, around 14, 15, 16, up to 20 being our oldest, I think it's a good opportunity because now when we go for our next champs, we'll all be a lot older and have experience racing at these competitions. So instead of just going and focusing on personal best, we can go and try and get some medals next time.
Well, and that is it for sport this evening. Komoto Mapani is standing by to give us a reminder of our top stories. Right.
Liza, wasn't it BDF, rather Police 11 yesterday, that vowed to redeem themselves?
I know,
against the Holy Ghost. What happened?
This is the Premier League. This is the Premier League. That's all I can say.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's meet again next time. Have yourself a fantastic evening.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Komoto.
Thank you. That was Liza Sekin giving us the latest in sport. Let's take a final look at stories later in the week this evening. President Masisi continued to lure American investors to Botswana. The Vice President, Mr. Slamba Tsohwane, is in Kenya to attend the Africa Fertilizer and Soil Health Summit. And in sports, local swimmers returned from the Africa Aquatic Swimming and Open Water Championships in Angola. That is all that we had for you in our news bulletin this evening. BTV News, Ikanya Rona. Hashtag BW Mindset Change. Up next is the weather update.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's weather forecast brought to you by Lydia Wajikom. Looking at the current Saturday image, clouds are visible over Ngamiland, Khansi and Kalahari district. Elsewhere is currently showing clear skies. Tomorrow expecting partly cloudy conditions over southern Kalahari, also expecting clear skies. Fresh to strong winds are expected over Kalahari district tomorrow, therefore the public is advised to take necessary precautions. In the morning, we're expecting high temperatures over south and southeast, going in southern central and northeast between 10 and 13 degrees Celsius. Also expecting warm temperatures ranging between 16 and 18 degrees Celsius. In the afternoon, we're expecting hot temperatures over Chobe, Ngamiland, Khansi and Kalahari districts ranging between 31 and 33 degrees Celsius. Also expecting warm temperatures between 27 and 30 degrees Celsius. As for the African region, clear skies expected over Port Elizabeth with 27 degrees Celsius. Patches of clouds expected over Antananarivo with 22 degrees Celsius. Nairobi and Dar es Salaam expecting thunder showers with 29 degrees Celsius over Dar es Salaam and 24 degrees Celsius over Nairobi. Cairo and N'Djamena expecting clear skies with 37 degrees Celsius over N'Djamena and 37 degrees Celsius over Cairo. Patches of clouds expected over Khartoum with 41 degrees Celsius. Addis Ababa expecting thunderstorms with 22 degrees Celsius. That's the weather forecast. Good night.
Batswana ba tla tlhaloganya gore re le mahatshe a tlhabologang re iteisenya borathana le mahatshe a mangwe ka go leka go ngoka bagwebi go leka go ngoka boradikitso ba batlang ka madi